Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Frank Mularcik, and in this video, we're going to be going over my dividend portfolio for the month of May 2022. First of all, looking at any dividend increases that we did receive from any of the companies I owned. We're also going to be going through and sort of updating the spreadsheet and looking at any transactions we made, buys, sells, dividends we received, stuff like that. And we're also going to be looking at some, key metrics of the portfolio as a whole that I like to keep track of on a daily basis, basically, and look at those metrics over time. And then we're also going to look at, where I want the portfolio to go moving forward. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video so you don't miss out on anything, and let's get into it. If you find value in my videos, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. This is Frank Mularcik. So like I said, first of all, we're going to be looking at dividend increases, and the only one we got this month was from Leggett & Platt, ticker symbol LEG, and we got a 2-cent per quarter per share raise. So that's about 4.76%, which if we look over here, that's a little bit above their 5-year average dividend growth rate of 4.26%. So that's good to see. Definitely want to see them keep increasing that dividend, and hopefully, the amount that they increase that dividend will also be increasing, at least for the next few years, but we'll see where that goes. Just looking at kind of an overview of where the portfolio is at. Current payout ratio is something I'm pretty happy with, of 54%. That's definitely very solid. Average years of increasing dividends for the portfolio is 33.7, and this is like a weighted average by, the amount of equity in each individual position. Annual income around $65 projected, and if you want to pause here, you can look at the equity by sector and dividend income by sector. Our biggest sectors are going to be healthcare, financials, industrials, and information technology for the most part. And for sure, healthcare and industrials are the biggest segments in terms of dividend income received. So now we're going to move over to Fidelity and download our transaction history. So this is my dividend portfolio account here, and this is the transaction history from May 2nd to the 30th. So the 2nd was actually the first day in May that the market was open, and then the 30th, although it's not the last day in May, I didn't have any transactions on the 31st aside from like a 3-cent interest payment from Fidelity, and I didn't want that to include that in here and mess things up, so I just excluded that for now. There's no other transactions on the 30th, and so we're just going to download CSV file containing this transaction history, save it to our computer, and then we can run this little Python script I created, and it's going to prompt us for the file, and we're going to be able to select that file, and then it's going to kind of parse through all the data in that CSV file, and it will tell us exactly how much we received in dividends from each company and all the different buys and sells we did, and it's going to insert all that data into the spreadsheet here for us. So I'll come back in just a few minutes when this script is done running, and we'll be able to see what happened. All right, so the script has finished running, and we can kind of see the results in this little output here. So we deposited $60 this month, which is pretty much what we do every single month. It's automatic. I don't have to do anything. It just comes straight out of my bank account sometime the first few days of the month. And then we made some investments in a few companies here. We bought about $30 of Apple at an average price of $140 pretty much. It dipped a little bit, and I saw it go below 140, so I figured I'd buy a little bit. It's not the absolute best price, but it's definitely at a discount compared to where it's been, the past year. And then we bought $20 of Cisco at about $43 per share. They had earnings that were, the earnings really weren't that bad, but the market just reacted negatively, and they were down like, I don't know, at least like 10% in one day. So I figured I'd take the opportunity to buy a little bit more. And then Microsoft, bought about $15 of Microsoft. Again, not the best price, but I want to own more Microsoft long term. So I wanted to buy some, and it wasn't, the worst price. It was on a little bit of a dip, so I did buy some. And then I bought about $20 of JP Morgan at $116 per share. They, were hit pretty hard the last month or so. Past few months, to be honest, they've been down a lot, and they have recovered since then, but I saw again a good opportunity, I thought, to buy more of a company that I want to own more of long term. So in overall, we invested about $85 this month. And in terms of dividends, we received dividends from a bunch of companies in May. We received about 62 cents from Caterpillar for, about half a share that I do own. We received about 22 cents from Carrier Global from about 1.5 shares that I own. About 64 cents we received from Procter & Gamble. I own about 0.7 shares. We received $1.94 from AbbVie for about 1.38 shares that I own. We received a whole 11 cents from Apple for almost half a share of Apple that I own. I think, with my recent purchase, I definitely own more than half a share, which is pretty cool. We got about $1.39 from APD for about 0.86 shares I own. Pretty excited to get close to a share in APD as the share price is, pretty high. So that's would be awesome to get a full share. About $1.25 from JP Morgan for about 1.25 shares. And about 72 cents from AT&T from 2.5 shares. So in total, in May, I earned $6.89 in dividends, which for me is pretty good, I think. And we can, look at the spreadsheet now. As we can see, the income jumped up about $1.50 to $67.13. And portfolio value right now is around $2,400, which is pretty exciting. Getting close to that $2,500 mark. I'm not really contributing that much to the portfolio, but I am contributing some. Dividends are coming in. I'm continuing to invest in quality companies. So over time, that's going to go up. Monthly dividend income right now on average is around $5.50, which is pretty exciting, I think. So if anyone wants to look at, the updated weightings, I guess, definitely a little bit less cash now. Before it was around 3% something. Now it's 2.8%. So that's something that I like to see, that there's less cash means I have more invested in the market. Obviously, I want to have cash available to be able to take care of opportunities, or sorry, take advantage of opportunities. But that's not the worst thing if I don't have cash. I can always deposit more, a little bit extra from my bank account if I do see an extra good opportunity. So let's look at some of these other charts here. This is the monthly dividend chart. And as we can see, May was our best month for dividends yet. So $6.89. One of the reasons for that is that JP Morgan is kind of weird how they pay out. So their actual pay date that they're supposed to pay was probably April 31st, but that was a weekend. So it just got rolled over to May 2nd. And that sometimes happens with JP Morgan. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to happen with other companies, but it does happen with JP Morgan. Usually if another company would normally pay out on the weekend, they just put the pay date on the Friday before or something like that. But with JP Morgan, it's always at the very end of the month, and sometimes it just rolls over to the next month, which is kind of weird, and that kind of skews the month over month or quarter over quarter dividends a little bit, but it's fine. And last November and February were the biggest months at the time. So it looks like the second month of the quarter is now going to be my best month. And I know before, for a while, as you can see, it was the third month of the quarter that was always, a lot more received in dividends. And now it's the second month of the quarter, and it's not such a big margin bigger. So in general, that kind of stuff doesn't really matter to me, but I think it's good to be a little bit more diversified among, how you're getting paid and when you're getting paid. So quarterly dividends, $9.85 so far for the quarter, which is pretty exciting because that's, only 2 months done in the quarter, and that's already more than we received for Q2 last year and Q3 last year. So definitely excited to see some number above $12 in total for the the second quarter. Maybe above 13 or 14 would be pretty exciting. And on the year, $22 received in dividends so far this year. So more than 2020, which is cool to see. And also I want to look at back here, this value over time sheet. So basically what I do here is I track some key statistics. So just the portfolio value, projected income, dividend yield, 5-year dividend CAGR, and payout ratio. Basically have a script that runs that records these values at the end of every day. And then I can create these cool little charts here. So this is kind of the portfolio value over time, dividend income over time, dividend yield over time. For me, I guess the portfolio value is most interesting. But I think long-term, these 5-year CAGR charts and payout ratio charts could be super helpful, and dividend yield charts could be super helpful to, analyze, is the portfolio moving in the direction that I want it to move. And in general, the direction that I want the portfolio to move is obviously increasing income, increasing value, but I don't want to sacrifice that increasing income for lack of quality. I really want to focus on this 5-year CAGR. I would say that's probably one of the most important metrics for my portfolio is the dividend CAGR. Obviously, I'm not just investing solely on that, but that if someone were to ask me what's the one thing or one number that is most important to me in my dividend portfolio, I would probably say the 5-year dividend CAGR, because for me, I just have such a long way to go before I'm going to need these dividends. Companies that are going to increase their dividend by a good amount is really important to me. And so having that 5-year CAGR be, 7, 8, 10% is really something I'm looking for. So, where it's at right now, 8%, I'm super happy with that. I think if we could get, closer to 10%, that would be awesome. But again, there's a lot of companies that are super quality companies and I like them, and they maybe don't have as high of a dividend CAGR. And that's not the end of the world, because they're still good quality companies that I want to own. So let me know what you guys have been doing in your dividend portfolio and how much you earned in the month of May. Definitely some good buying opportunities out there, and there's definitely still some good buying opportunities. I do feel like there's not as many good buying opportunities in terms of dividend companies than other like companies that have that are more exciting, I guess. A lot of dividend companies like Pepsi, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, like those types of companies are just holding up super well under this market pressure, and that is really exciting for me in a sense, because it means those are high quality companies that do well, in all market conditions, to be honest. But it's also a little bit sad because then they're not on as big of a discount for me to buy more of them. So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one.